Well, my parents are Zionists, and I have had family that has lived in what was then called Palestine for a long time. My great uncle was the editor of the Palestine Post, which then became the Jerusalem Post. Um, his brother was the founder of Wahad al-Salam, Neve Shalom, Oasis of Peace, which was the first Arab and Israeli village that then had sort of satellites throughout Israel and Palestine. And my mother had visited independently when she was in 1959, when she was younger, on a prop plane. So my parents had a lot of belief in the importance of Israel. My father was born on a ship fleeing the Nazis in July of 1938, not in a hospital, and was raised in Panama as the rest of the family that survived were fleeing, and they would come to Panama, and then they would either go to Israel or to New York until the visas ran out, like so many of the Cubans talk about. And then they were stranded in Panama for 10 years waiting, and finally they got a senator to open up and give them a little visa. So my father moved to the United States when he was 10, and has many stories of chewing on sugar cane and eating mangoes and plátanos, but the cause was the Holocaust. So that being said, my parents believed strongly that Israel was an important place for people of the Jewish heritage that had experienced the diaspora many, many centuries before to return. And they moved us there the first time when I was 4 months old. So I lived in Israel. My first steps were in Jerusalem. My first words were in Hebrew. And I don't remember that, of course. We returned when I was about 1.5 years, 2 years old. And then my father was teaching for the University of California in Santa Cruz that conducted a junior year abroad. And so he got on board as the head of the EAP, the Education Abroad program, to Jerusalem. And then we went for 2 more years. So I moved back again when I was 6, and I stayed until I was 8. I went to public school. And by the time I left, I barely spoke English. And that is actually, I did start dance when I was 5 years old in Santa Cruz, but that is where I really intensified my dance training while in Jerusalem at a place called the Rubin Academy. And I took ballet, and I had this other teacher, and I didn't realize, a woman named Chassia Levy, that I loved so much. And I remembered that she had, arms full of bracelets and this short hair, and she was very charismatic. And we sat on the floor with our legs in second position, and we would go forward. And it wasn't until I became a Graham dancer at Juilliard that I realized that I had studied Graham technique at age 6. So both ballet and modern dance had been in my body since 6 years old because of the training I got while I was living in Israel. And then my sister went back to be in the Educational Abroad program when she was in college. So I went back when I was 12 for a bit. And then I went back again in 1990, which was the last time I was there, for about 3 months with a partner of mine that was studying at Bezalel University.